Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Perri-Rae. I'm a financial advisor with the Cooperators in Pembroke, Ontario. I have been with the company for almost 35 years and have been working with farmers, helping them with their insurance and financial needs for the last 14 years. I do want to take a moment to send my thoughts and prayers to those in BC and everyone who has been affected by the recent flooding. We are all thinking of you. Today, we're talking about risk management and how to protect your farm. We have 4 topics of discussion today. We have physical inspections, business interruption, equipment breakdown, and estate and succession planning. So when thinking about risk management on the farm, we think about the forecasting and evaluation of financial risks together with the identification of procedures to avoid or minimize their impact. Physical inspections of farms can assist with this minimization of risk. When completing a physical inspection on a farm, we look at the whole picture as well as individual components and parts of the farm. When entering the property, you have a good overview of the property as a whole. You get a good idea of what the house looks like, the condition of the roof on the structures, are there oil tanks outside, are there railings on the stairs and decks, just to name a few. You can see the outbuildings on the property and how many there are and the general condition prior to looking closer at them. Some of the items we look at when we're doing physical inspections are fuel storage tanks. What is their condition? Is there corrosion on the tank? Does it have vehicular protection around it? Is the vegetation cleared away? Does it have a no smoking sign on or near it? We look at outdoor wood furnaces. Have they been professionally installed, or if they've been installed by the owner, have they been inspected by a professional? How close are they to buildings and wood piles, and is the vegetation cleared around it? Does the unit have a spark arrestor cap on it? So those are a few things that we look at for outdoor wood furnaces. Electrical panels and wiring. Fires can be caused by several factors, including faulty wiring, electrical overloading, worn insulation, and poor maintenance. Taking care of your electrical system can prolong its life and reduce the risk of personal injury, property damage, and fires. Farms can be dangerous places with many hazards that can escape one's notice. The first step in preventing injuries is to become aware of the potential hazards. So some of those hazards we look at are storage of chemical hazards like pesticides and solvents, biological hazards, bacteria, dust, and mold, physical hazards like electricity, heat, and radiation. Animals becoming dangerous. Do they have a dog that's bitten anyone? I can maybe count on my hand, can't even count 5 farms that I've ever been to that has a dog that's been vicious. They're always, I drive up and the dog is barking, wagging its tail, and always pretty friendly. We look at heavy work involving lifting and moving heavy loads. Do they have employees that are working alone, lifting heavy loads, or working in isolated areas or extreme weather? Once the hazards have been identified, changes can be made to reduce or eliminate them. Changes can include providing better or standardized training for workers on the farm, putting up caution or no trespassing signs, installing fire extinguishers, posting no smoking signs, posting fire emergency numbers near telephones, developing and posting an emergency fire plan, what happens when and how to get out and be safe, maintaining your equipment, updating electrical inspections by professionals, protect workers from extreme temperatures. So take care of those that work for you, because the more you take care of them, the longer they'll be with you. Identify and control or isolate all sources of ignition, and mount multi-purpose dry chemical fire extinguishers on tractors and farm implements. By keeping our farm buildings safe, we can eliminate injury. We can keep all the exits clear, keep any hallways, stairs, and floors uncluttered and in good repair. Make sure that there's enough light and ventilation, keep hazardous materials safely stored, and ensure that you have appropriate electrical fixtures and keep them in proper condition. By keeping the farmyard safe, we can eliminate injury, keeping children away from enclosed spaces, wells, manure pits, and silos. We can create a designated fenced-in area for those children away from the work areas. Ensure grain bins are far away from any electrical hazards. Identify and post all overhead power lines where high equipment like grain augers can operate. And provide adequate visibility for leaving and entering your property. By taking care and maintaining your farm, updating and maintaining professional inspections, you reduce the risk of fires and potential liability claims that could impact your farm, your future, and your legacy. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sherry Waddy. I'm a financial advisor with the Cooperators in Abbotsford, British Columbia. I take a moment right now just to, my heart goes out to all my farmers out there. I know you guys are going through a difficult time, and I really look forward to the day that we can sit down at the table and give you a hug and kind of just walk through what's going on right now. So right now, I get the task of talking about risk management, and one of the biggest risk management that is often overlooked is your business interruption. Business interruption on a farm is by far one of the most important aspects because if anything is to happen, whether it's the barn animals, whether it's the barns themselves, if you're unable to work, it will be detrimental to yourself and to your business without having the income coming in. And I think it's always one of the biggest ones that's overlooked. And when we think about what business interruption actually means to us and how it all plays into everything, my biggest question always reverts back to when I work with my farmers is what would happen if you're unable to work or you're unable to care for your animals? Where's your money going to come from? And one of the biggest products and one of the greatest things out there is the actual loss sustained. So actual loss sustained business interruption can mean, it can be called different things with different insurance companies. So I really do encourage you to have that chat with your insurance broker. What it actually looks at is the physical income for the last 12 months through your financials of what was taken in from the farm, whether it's sales, whether it's could be dairy, could be poultry, it could be any type of farm that you have, and really consider how long it would take to get back into operation. So I spend a lot of time with dairy farmers and with poultry farmers. On the dairy side, our biggest concern is always if something happens to one of your barns, whether it's your main parlor or even one of the heifer barns, what's going to happen? How long does it take to rebuild that barn? It could take 12 months, it could take 24 months. So we want to make sure that you're covered for your business interruption for at least a 24-month period. Some insurance companies do offer a 36-month insurance period. I would again encourage you to chat with your local broker or whomever you're working with and kind of ask those difficult questions like, what does my policy have? What does my policy cover me for? What would happen if something goes down with my barns? Where would the income come from, and how long would it incur afterwards, even after the barn is built? It's such an important feature, and I always feel that when I sit down and I speak with my farmers, it's one of the things that's most often overlooked. So if we can work together, and our job is to create the best risk management for you to take care of you and your farm and create that fence around you so nothing happens, or if it does happen, you have the ability to worry about getting back to work, getting back to doing what you do best, and letting us as the insurance company help you get back on your feet and work together with you. I'm just trying to think. So again, I mean, I would, if you have not had that conversation with your broker, or if you have not had the chance to have a talk, I would really recommend that you do it. One thing that I would say about business interruption, every insurance company is completely different. So when you're looking at your business interruption, some companies offer 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. The Cooperators does offer a 36-month business interruption. on a dairy farm, I'd highly recommend the 36 months because, building a parlor, getting the equipment, whether it's coming from Europe, whether it's coming from Canada, it's going to take you at least 12 months to get that equipment, sometimes longer. So it's really, really important to try to extend the business interruption for as long as possible. So I'm trying to read some of the questions here. The biggest struggle, each contract is absolutely different. Every different, every milk, like every farmer has different amounts, but the actual loss sustained on a 36-month period through the cooperators is available, and it's actually based on your milking cows and on your quota. So your dairy cows themselves. But again, I would just reach out to your individual broker or to your local cooperator agent, whomever you happen to be dealing with, and ask those questions because it's so important. Back to you, Perri.
The next segment is on equipment breakdown. Used to be called boiler and machinery years ago, but it is called equipment breakdown, which is important also to have as part of your farm policy. So it's keeping your business running, even if your equipment isn't. So your property insurance covers your building and contents. It typically doesn't include coverage for your pressure, mechanical, and electrical equipment when it breaks down, ruptures, or cracks. With equipment breakdown insurance, you can rely on coverage for costly repairs and keep your business running at the same time. So the definition of a breakdown is sudden and accidental, manifests as physical damage, and necessitates repair or replacement of the equipment. All three of these components must exist to satisfy the definition of a breakdown. Why choose equipment breakdown insurance? Equipment breakdown insurance covers you for property damage resulting from the sudden and accidental breakdown of insured equipment that is not automatically covered by a standard commercial farm insurance policy. This coverage insures against property damage, business interruption when it's included in your policy, which we have covered that you should have that in your policy, very important, and spoiled inventory or contents that result when specified kinds of mechanical, electrical, and pressure equipment are damaged, including power surges. Types of equipment that would be covered can include air conditioning and refrigeration units. These are the most common sources of equipment breakdown. Boiler and pressure vessels, anything electrical, electronicals, and mechanical. Equipment breakdown can occur on any type of farm, big or small. So I don't think anyone who think they have a small operation should not automatically think that they don't need it. So field crop farms, they have pumps for irrigation. Cattle farms have pump for water supply, electrical panels, heating and cooling systems, and computer and electronic monitoring equipment. And poultry farms have pumps for water supply, generators, and refrigeration equipment. So all types of farms have the potential risk for equipment breakdown. Losses can be direct or indirect. Direct loss being physical damage to the equipment and insured property, and indirect loss, which occurs as a result of a direct loss. So just for an example, spoilage loss. The direct loss is a compressor seizes in a bulk milk tank. And the indirect loss is the temperature in the refrigeration unit increases by 20 degrees above the required temperature, causing the milk to spoil. Another example is the business interruption loss. The direct damage, the electrical panel suffers a short circuit, shutting down all power to the dairy barn. The indirect damage is where there is no way to temporarily restore the power. The business that's shut down is for 4 days, and the insured is unable to pump and store the milk. So very important for the dairy operation to keep going. Losses that occur due to equipment breakdown can last for days. They're very costly and could be very devastating to your farm, your livelihood, and your legacy. So by having the coverage, you need in the event of equipment breakdown, your business can continue, therefore protecting your legacy. So strongly recommended to go to your broker that handles your farm insurance, or like Sherry said, your local cooperators agent, to really dive into the coverage to see if it's something that you have already on the farm, understand what it covers, and if you don't have it, look into it. Very important. Back to you, Sherry.
Thank you, Perry. Last item for discussion that we want to talk about, both of us being financial planners or any financial planner that you happen to deal with, farm succession planning is such an important topic. There's a lot of different moving parts in a farm succession plan. So when you're looking for an advisor who is going to be there to help you move your farm from one generation to the next, I would encourage you to reach out to a financial planner, because a financial planner works well. We have the ability to work with your accountants, we have the ability to work with your lawyers, and to be able to do a deep dig into everything that's going on with yourself, with the farm, how to move it most efficiently from one generation to the next. One product that I happen to love with farm succession planning is a joint last to die policy. With the joint last to die policy, it's probably one of the most efficient as far as price point to be able to purchase the policy, because what it actually does, it takes both owners of the farm, so mom and dad in the farm, insures them on a joint last to die. The policy pays out when the last person passes away, which is really when we're going to trigger taxes and when we're going to trigger a lot of events that happen, because when the first parent passes, everything moves succession over to the surviving spouse. The last spouse passes, then we have a tax problem. If we haven't done the succession plan ahead of time, life insurance is a really great way to help you mitigate some of those taxes. Again, there are quite a few different policies, so we can do it always on a permanent side of things, whether it's a whole life, whether it's a universal life, or whether it's an infinity term. It's always a great option for you. I would highly recommend that if you're going to start looking at your succession planning, do it sooner rather than later, because if you start at a younger date, we may not know exactly what the adjusted cost base is going to be for the farm, or what our tax base is going to look like. But the one thing that we can do is we have the ability to purchase a policy at a younger age, which then again makes it more cost efficient for the farm itself, and even moving it in from the next generation. If we end up doing the succession ahead of time, while both parents are still alive, it's still a great policy to have and to keep moving forward. Again, I think it's always overlooked, and I find a lot of times when I'm working with my clients and with the farmers, you know, we start having these conversations a little bit later in life, and it's a great conversation to have. But when we start it a little bit later in life, when we're 40, 50, 60 years old, the product becomes extremely expensive. So we always like to try to work with you guys to make sure that we can get it at the most well, not perfect timing, because there is no perfect timing, but more so cost efficient to make it work. So again, I highly recommend that if you haven't reached out to a financial planner, to go ahead, you know, reach out to the financial planner, start having that conversation, because your succession plan and moving it from one generation to the next to mitigate taxes, to just, you know, leave a legacy for your family is huge. And I know with about first, second, third, fourth generation family, and just being able to continue passing it along. So if there's any way that we can help you with that, we would be more than happy to do so.
Also to have the whole family present, I find, Sherry, right? That
Absolutely.
You have the sons, the daughters, and the maybe the daughter's not going to participate in the farm, but the son is going to continue. So it's important that everybody's on the same page and knows, in the event that something happens, what's you know, what is going to transpire, and have it all in place.
Absolutely. So whether it's, you know, buying a life insurance policy for the succession plan for tax purposes, or whether, you know, it's a larger family and you're buying insurance policies, so one, when the son takes over the farm and maybe we have two daughters or vice versa, we're not, if we have two daughters who are taking over the farm, not, then it's leaving that legacy for every individual, because sometimes we like to make it fair.
Yes.
Fair enough. So it's a really great tool to kind of just help plan, what's happening inside the farm as well. And then also the one topic that I didn't really touch on too much was the term life insurance policies. So term life insurance policies are fantastic for debt loads. So, young, just buying the farm, or if we're buying equipment, buying a new combine that's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's always a good idea to carry some form of term insurance as well for the debt load of the farm. We can kind of open it up to questions if anybody, I see a couple questions. So I see Myrna's. It is definitely early to say how many farms have been impacted. I do believe to date there's 338 claims that have been opened on Sumas Prairie farms. It's Sumas Prairie and on the Masquoi Prairie as well, but Sumas is where it was hit the hardest. I do have a lot of large dairy farms and chicken farms down there. I don't remember the total amount of farmers. I want to say it's 113 farms that have been affected at this point in time by the flooding, but we just don't know the degree. I mean, the water's still not receded yet, so we won't know probably for another week of how much damage there is, because we are supposed to get another 9 millimeters from tonight. So I think we're just trying to survive at this point in time. Thank you, Jenny. I know it's gonna be pretty crazy. Perri, do you see any other questions?
No, lots of thoughts being sent out to your area there, Sherry, as we are too. I know that it's we watch the news constantly, and it's we feel that I wish there was more that we could do, and if there is anything that people can do, we would love to help out for sure. It's
I do believe right now BC agricultural donations, I don't know if most people are aware, but as flooding, Sumas Prairie is a flood zone, so it is a high-risk flood area. It always has been. So there are going to be some people out there who don't have insurance only because of the flooding zone. So I think it's just, any help that they can get, because their heart just breaks for them, and then it'll be devastating for sure. Thanks, Marina. I knew there was a donation portal out there, but I wasn't sure, because I was just looking at the BC agricultural one as well. It's gonna be a long time for sure.
Yeah, long time to rebuild and a long time to get things back to where they were prior to. So
for sure. But if there's not any other questions, I think we can hand it over to the MC.